Right, it is time for another Choose Your Adventure, baby! Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the Crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes, you the person who won second place at the Warhammer tournament that I told you about last week. I know, first loser and all of that. I'm sad I didn't bring it back, but King of the North, second place, 2023. Let's go for first next year. Yeah. I'm a monkey of Warhammer. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other to thank than Pueblo Native. Didn't you suggest last week's episode as well? Stop being so good at suggesting things I want to write, and maybe I should have a go at myself for not reading the fact that it was from you before I started writing the script, but that's on me. So thank you, Pueblo Native, for your suggestion of video game weapons that are so horrifying, so downright disgusting and evil that they go into WTF territory. So let's take a look at them today, because there are definitely a lot of pokers, stabbers, slingshots, and other things that make you just go, okay, I guess I'm dead because of this now, that exist in video games that really do push the boundaries quite far indeed. Because they say that a video game hero is only as good as the tools they wield to get the job done, and for the most part, that is very, very true. I mean, it's very unlikely that Dan over here is going to be able to slay the big evil of the North by just using a passive-aggressive post-it note, really, isn't it? Is that all you've got, mate? Oh, you're in trouble. No, he'll need something like the Rod of Slappening. Here, I'll help.
Ow.
To definitely vanquish this horror. In fact, the link between video game characters and their weapons is as synonymous as the literal link is with the Master Sword, in that a good firearm, a set of tonfas, or even a blade the size of a school bus can definitely come to define not just a hero's skill wielding it, but also the hero themselves as an icon within the video game industry. Yet, let's get down to fossil fuels here, my friends. There is no such thing as a good weapon. Taking a life is never good, but there are some that are just downright, well, horrible. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 video game weapons that are genuinely horrible. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat and put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comment section below. So with that in mind, let's get on with the list, shall we? Number 8, the Landshark Gun, armed and dangerous. Now, the Landshark Gun from the incredibly underrated Armed and Dangerous is a weapon that is deeply hilarious until it is suddenly not. I say this because the very sight of watching an enemy be torn apart by a shark that somehow swims through bedrock and then bursts through the ground is an utter laugh riot. I mean, the sheer spectacle of absurdity here is something that could only exist within the realms of a video game. However, it's only when you switch the game off and sit back to think about the mechanics behind the Landshark Gun, well, that it becomes a weapon of terror like no other. I mean, just imagine being on the receiving end of this weapon and your final moments alive. I mean, the ground is going to start shaking and rumbling as this fin approaches you, swimming through matter as if it didn't matter, and then all of a sudden, boom, there goes your torso, because you've just been bitten by a giant great white shark that's burst out of the bloody ground. Pant-soilingly terrifying doesn't even cut it. But unfortunately, your end has only just begun, my friend. For now, you'll be thrashed about for a moment before being dragged down into the ground itself. And trust me, that is not a killing bite that the shark has on you. No, my friend. Your death will likely come one of 2 very disgusting ways. You'll either suffocate to death as you struggle to breathe while being dragged through the earth itself, or the earth itself will be your undoing, because the last time that I checked, bodies don't go through solid floor. Either way, gross. Number 7, the Brick, the Timesplitters franchise. Truly, the golden age of the FPS ended when the Timesplitters franchise hung up its comedically large, silly hat, as while I know that there have been many other decent, even exceptional shooters since, none have been as fun, as frantic, or as goddamn full of monkeys as this outstanding series. Creator modes, arcade leagues, surprisingly deep story modes, and a roster so swollen with beef that you'd swear the game was juicing those sweet roids. No time for you, no time for you. I didn't say your name. I did not say beef. Okay, that one is on me. Timesplitters was the franchise that simply had it all and knew how to flaunt it, and yet there was one weird weapon included within its rotating wheel of pain that caused me to wince each and every time it got lobbed into my face. I'm speaking, of course, about the humble brick, friend to your ceiling, or at least keeping it up, and good pal to Kevin from Home Alone. The brick is indeed the last thing that you'd expect to wield in a game full of machine guns, lasers, and explosives, but here we are. But wield it you can, and it always feels so very wrong to do so. I mean, clocking your mate in the head with a brick will always elicit a laugh for sure, but the sound effect and then that scraping, air quotes, reload of pulling out a new slab of justice really is quite grim when you think about it. I mean, you're literally braining somebody in the head with a brick. It's like a night out in Gateshead, and nobody wants that. And I can say that because I live there. Number 6, everything in Manhunt. Easily one of the most horrifying aspects of Rockstar's controversy-baiting Manhunt title, outside of Pigsy's design that is its approach to violence in general. Not content to let the player bludgeon, stab and shoot their way out of a live snuff film set, the game also introduces the ability to stalk your opponent and then, air quotes, rewards the player with increasingly more violent and horrible executions the longer you stay behind them unnoticed. Now, it's definitely bad to see a man suffocate another man with a plastic bag. That's grim, but to then have an extra animation of you break his nose so that he also drowns in his blood before then suffocating from the bag, that is a level beyond decency. The line of decency is so far away that the other place has to get a visa in order to think about visiting it. For every fatality in Mortal Kombat that made you squirm, Manhunt has about 20 more horrifying animations that will make you genuinely worry about the developers. And while the likes of Scorpion eviscerating his foes is stomach-churning, Manhunt delivers its violence in a very gritty and altogether more realistic way. That just makes it even worse. Yuck. Number 5, the Cerebral Bore, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. Now, it is very clear that during the creation of Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, someone on the creative team lost their goddamn mind. And I mean that in every single sense of the word, because the fact that the Cerebral Bore is just a weapon of pure cruelty, and it is so disgusting. I mean, when you look at the other murder-making weapons in this game, one definitely sticks out from the pack for all the wrong reasons. You've got your guns, your bows, naturally, your missile launchers, and then also your alien pieces of tech that lock onto your opponent's brainwaves and then fire a drill into the back of their head, which will open their skull like a rancid watermelon. One of these things is not like the others. The Cerebral Bore is an absolutely horrifying video game weapon for several reasons. I mean, for one, just listen to that description I gave again. And for two, it takes so bloody long to kill its target that you just know that they're in absolute agony far beyond reason. I mean, the animation goes on for such a long time. It's like, ha, I've got you. Oh, I've still got you. Oh, this is uncomfortable. I do not want to see this. This is like watching my nan in an adult film. I don't need the eyes to see what is this. Oh, and now he's dead. Ooh. Shame on you devs for making this, and shame on you players for watching this elongated event play out. Number 4, the air pump, Dig Dug. Now, you might not look at the video game Dig Dug and immediately think of horrifying weapons, mainly because the title markets itself as a charmingly sweet sugar rush in which you simply dig and or dug to avoid enemies as you tunnel deeper and deeper. However, if you just take a step back and look at how Dig Dug gets rid of his foes in this game, you'll realise that it's an absolutely horrifying way to die, because he pumps them full of air until they explode. That is not a Dig Dug move, that is a Dick Dug move. Imagine shoving a tube into a foe and then pumping air into their very veins, then the look of panic in their eyes as they feel their skeletons separate from their now bulbous flesh, and the pain involved when their skin then rips apart from the inside out. Seriously, that's horrific. And then this utter prick just goes about his day grabbing more loot and digging yet more graves for these beasties. And the worst thing about this is that most of the monsters in this game don't even go after Dig Dug. Instead, they just go about their daily business. They're just trying to survive. And then this asshole just comes in and just goes like, tss, 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 tss. Bye. Asshole. Number 3, the Finger Slayer Blade, Elden Ring. Now, to be clear, there are many horrifying weapons in pretty much any From Software title, and Elden Ring, having so much scope and so much content, is definitely chock full of absolutely ew weaponry. Ew, gross, no. From dung-encrusted cudgels to huge bladed monstrosities designed to bleed your opponent dry, it is a game that is built on pain, on a foundation of ouch, and what a mighty mansion it has made. And so choosing just one horrible weapon from a title rocking so many of them was challenging indeed. But then I remembered the Finger Slayer blade. And while this might not be a weapon that the player themselves can wield, for apparently they lack of fate, which seems like a bit of a passive-aggressive put-down, it is a key item that takes up residence in your inventory and allows you to inspect the blade in all of its horrifying glory. The weapon is basically like what would happen if Cronenberg was asked to redesign the mighty Soul Edge weapon. For this is both a sharp and cruel device, but is also one that seems to have been forged out of an actual body. Gross doesn't even cut it here. As you study the horrible twisted shape, the thinned-out handle that seems to have been squeezed and torn off, and the sickening crust and ooze surrounding it, you'll be glad that your character never has to touch this weapon for long. But linger on in your memory, this sword will, as it is truly disgusting. Number 2, the Chainsword, Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Now, if we're being truly honest, there is something so much more intimately horrible about melee weapons. I mean, sure, shooting somebody in the head a mile away with a sniper rifle still isn't great. I mean, God upstairs is probably going to be like, ooh, that's a big boo-boo on your permanent record. But still, there's something about watching the life drain from somebody's eyes up close and personal that definitely adds that extra ick factor. Right? Right? Agreed? Yeah. Oh, standing ovation. Thank you very much. That was my TED talk on why weapons are bad. So now take that concept and apply another concept of being showered in your opponent's blood, teeth, and whatever organs get in the way of your 2-meter-long chainsword. The humble chainsword, tin opener of the Imperium of Man, and one of the most iconic weapons in all of Warhammer 40k. It's an item that you'll get well accustomed to using in Warhammer Space Marine, and when you actually look at what you're doing after the blood rage has subsided, it is utterly horrifying. I mean, you've just carved through orcs, heretics, and demons alike with this weapon, severing flesh from bone and heads from torsos, and ye golden god, is it pretty rank. Plus, I imagine that the cleanup afterwards is also pretty grim. I mean, imagine taking it in for like a servicing, just kind of like, oh, the rotary bit's sticking a bit. What's that there? Oh, it's multiple orc skins condensed into a little wad at the bottom of the base. Luckily, I've got a tool for that. And number 1, any poison weapon at all ever, they're horrible. So let's be clear about something. No matter what weapon it comes from, nor which side of the moral coin pulls the trigger or looses the arrow, poison weapons are the epitome of dickishness in video games. I mean, you're literally sapping the strength and stamina of your enemies, causing them likely horrendous amounts of pain, and turning an encounter into an unfair fight as your opponent struggles to maintain their bearings. Also, it's really annoying. It's just really annoying. I'm sorry, seriously, guys. That's the worst thing about poison weapons. I hate having to stop a fight and just be like, hold on a mate, while I just bosh a herb. Oh, I feel good now. Oh, you've done it again. You've done it again, you little prick. You little... 2 seconds. Don't... Done it again, haven't you? You asshole. Because there's nothing worse than being hit with a poison weapon reaching into your travel backpack or betwixt your buttocks, seeing as there's no other place for your hero to carry items, and finding out that you've no means of curing yourself from poison, which then turns a run into a desperate sprint to safety, or at least a forced retreat to stock up. Poison weapons stop the flow of gameplay much in the same way that poison itself thickens and slows your blood, and as such are doubly horrible when it comes to video games. So yeah, another TED talk here. Jules, why poison weapons are bad. 2 in 1, fantastic. Just like Pueblo Native, getting 2 ideas for the lists. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video game weapons that were genuinely horrible. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And leave your suggestions for next week's episode down there as well, and I will pick the best. I promise it won't be Pueblo Native for a 3rd time running, or maybe it will, if they can provide something with solid gold. I can't deny it, mate. If they got the Midas touch, then call me a piggy bank. Where's that metaphor even going? I don't even know. And if you want to chat to me on the social medias and follow all of my Warhammer paintings that I've been doing, go over to Instagram, where it's at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, my friends. You can follow Dan, the lovely editor of this series, over here on his social medias as well. What a lovely chap he is, eh? But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope that you are treating yourself well, my friend, with love and respect, because at the end of the day, we can all be weapons of justice, positivity, and just good good vibes if we keep ourselves sharp, mentally clean, and prepared for battle. Because let's face it, life sometimes does feel like a bit of an uphill slog, doesn't it? So remember to give yourself a break. Remember to support yourselves with friends, family, and professionals in the support industry, because these people want you to do well, as do I, my friend, because you are a massive ledge and you deserve all the best things in life, like love, happiness, and success. And let's get you out there, back in the battle, and let's slay in the name of positivity. All right. Oh, that was so deep. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.